What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Woksky MMA channel. Took a bit of a hiatus. You know, I've been, I'll explain at the end of the video, but basically, UFC Belgrade, Serbia wrapped up. This was well past my bedtime. I, you know, I was up pretty late watching this. I missed some of the main card fights, but luckily most of them were finishes, so I've got a pretty good sense of what happened there. So let's just get straight into it. First off, Stefiano Luci... Oh, what the fuck's her name? Luciano, she won by submission. Her opponent gave up her back really early, had no sub defense. Luciano got it done. By the way, my picks, okay, just so you can verify that I made them before the event, they're on my YouTube community page, okay? I had Luciano by submission. She won by submission. Moving on. This guy, I believe his name is Jordan Laker. Hang on a second. Searching up. Let's see. But he won by a body kick into a ground and pound sequence. And the way that fight was going, he was getting like kind of picked apart at range by his opponent, who was a light heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he looked good in this fight. It was just that he was kind of like somewhat comfortably behind until he found that shot. But when he found that shot, he sat Popek down really fast. To be honest, it kind of looked like a low blow initially. Like, my first thought was, oh my god, he's hit him in the cock, he's dead. They're going to DQ him. But no, Jovan Laker gets it done. First round knockout. And he kind of sets the tone with, a lot of these like crazy finishes. Because, one body shot knockout. That's cool. But Nina Miliso, this lady did a very impressive job against Hayley Cowan. Cowan was she was trying to get the clinch going. Did not know why she was doing that. They were kind of like going back and forth. Milosevic caught Cowan going in, Cowan caught Milosevic going in, and it kind of looked pretty even. It looked like Cowan might even be getting ahead, but then Milosevic gets her against the cage, plants a really nice body shot, and Cowan's hurt immediately, okay? Cowan's kind of, she's on the ropes, she's trying to swing back, but she opens up again, and Milosevic plants a nice straight right to the body. Cowan's out. Really nasty stuff in the women's bantamweight division. Watch out for this girl. She, really good showcase. She's got a credentialed amateur career. She's only got one loss. She's a 9-1 right now. But she's going to be a problem. Joe Rogan is going to, when he commentates this girl's fight, whenever it is, he's going to just be like, this girl is a marauder. He will be all over the glaze. But next up, Mateusz Rambetsky gets the first round TKO against Karl Prepolek. I feel bad for Prepolek. He drew a short straw in the UFC. Debut, short notice against BSD. Then he goes against Drew Dober. He's doing well in that fight, gets nutshotted, and then knocked out. Then he goes against Mateusz Rambetsky, who, has taken down all his UFC opponents, and he just mauls him on the ground. I thought Prepolek made a mistake by trying to stay in guard once he got taken down. He was kind of accepting bottom position, not trying to scramble at all. And then Rambetsky gets him to the fence. It looks like Prepolek might be able to get up, but Rambetsky kind of had his foot trapped. Then he just, lands a lot of kind of pitter-patter ground and pound, but, lots of it. Prepolek's not defending, and Rambetsky gets the first round TKO. Good for him, honestly, because he's been in a lot of average Rambetsky fight. is a crazy back and forth war that takes like 5 years off this guy's life every time. So, I'm happy for him. And that hopefully he should be able to make a pretty fast turnaround. Mateusz Rambetsky, you could match this guy up with any lightweight and it would make a fun fight. I don't even know. What do you do with him? Maybe, what's his name? Has Esteban Ribovics? I don't think Ribovics has fought Rambetsky. If Ribovics beats Barboza, I think him versus Rambetsky would be a good fight. But yeah, good on Rambetsky. Bogdan Grad, crispy PNG, I know. He grows hair, he grows a mustache, and he fights like a madman. His pace is crazy. I do not know how he got some of those takedowns. They were really bad, but, Bazooka, not the highest level opponent. So Grad got some of the takedowns that he maybe shouldn't have got. But yeah, Bazooka was kind of struggling with the pace. He nearly got finished at the end of the first, and that was a trend that continued into the next round where he did get finished at the end of the round. But before that happened, Grad was kind of like, he was tired from the pace in round one. He needed to slow down a little bit, catch his breath. So he got into the clinch. They broke apart, striking at range. Bazooka was landing some good shots on Grad. His defense is a little bit sus. Like, it looked good in the first round, but in the second round, he got, tagged slightly. I'm thinking, oh no, my boy is about to go down. By the way, hang on a second. Okay, picked her, picked him, picked her, picked him, and picked him. So, we're doing well on picks so far. But yeah, there was a bit of, what was it? Bit of controversy with the stoppage. Grad kind of faked a strike into the takedown. He had a Bazooka against the cage. He kind of has a head and arm a little bit, but it's not in. Then he gets it in. It looks like Bazooka tapped. He says he didn't tap. Grad said he didn't feel the tap, but he was well on his way to getting submitted. So I'm not really mad with the stoppage. Maybe if I had money on the fight, I'd be mad at the stoppage, but if I had money on the fight, it would be on Grad. So, I don't give a fuck. But next up, we had this fella, right? What's his name? Borislav Nikolic. I picked him by decision. He won by decision. I thought Volodin would be too tough. He wouldn't get finished. But he's also, wouldn't do that well. I was wrong, honestly. I disagree with the way this fight was scored. I think Volodin got the first 2 rounds and Nikolic got a 10-8 in the third. Because Volodin, in the first round, he had 2 knockdowns on Nikolic. He had him hurt like crazy. He timed this beautiful overhand in the first 10 seconds of the fight. Then he had him up against the cage in a kind of he had him in a headlock thing. He had the knees going. Nikolic craftily put a knee on the ground and made himself a grounded opponent, which was, really cool. Not cool, but, good for him, right? I was kind of thinking, he's gonna knock out Volodin the first round when I saw Nikolic walking out. He had the, 1,000-yard stare. But, for someone who had all, the physical attributes in his favor, he really didn't use his range very well. Commentary was saying, he needs to jab, he needs to cross. Yeah, he was just swinging hooks and uppercuts and shit. And I'm just like, man, okay. But he kind of grew into the fight in the second round. The momentum did kind of start to go in his favor, but I still thought Volodin got the second round. It was more of a case of Nikolic looked less bad in the second round than he did in the first, but I still thought Volodin was comfortably ahead. Now, I should have known that if a fight was to go to a decision in Serbia and there was a close round, that it would not go to Volodin. And I was pulling for Volodin. I wanted Volodin to win. because he's he's an action fighter. He's 5'3" at bantamweight. This guy's like completely outsized in every fight. Of course, I'm rooting for him, but Nikolic then has a pretty devastating third round. Nearly knocks out Volodin. He gets like 2 or 3 knockdowns, has him hurt like crazy. Then Volodin tries to like initiate the grappling, so he's out of the striking. Nikolic reverses it really well. He gets this like Sean Brady guillotine. I'm thinking, man, I think Volodin can hang in there because he doesn't have a neck. Bit of the Torres Finney sub defense, if you know where I'm going with this. But no, Volodin, he gets out, he scrambles really well. Multiple times in this fight, he scrambled really well. But it just wasn't enough, and Nikolic got it done by decision. Like, I'm not mad at the decision, but I did think that it should have been a draw, okay? But, I got my pick right. I can't complain. Whatever. As for this guy, shit. I don't know. Matchmake him with... Whew. Oh, man. Who should Nikolic fight next? Maybe like Ricky Simone or something. That could be a good fight. But yeah. We've got Michael Oliveira. He won by first round KO. I picked Oban Elliott. I thought, he was too crafty. He was going to get it done. But no, Oliveira has crazy power. I think it's really going to take a true blockhead to get him out of there, or someone who can grapple with him, get the wrestling going, because he looked unstoppable. I thought Elliott was going to be, able to use that crafty bag of tricks. He wasn't able to use that crafty bag of tricks, and he might get cut now. He's 3-3 in the UFC on a 3-fight losing streak. It's not looking good for Oban Elliott. It's looking really good for Michael Oliveira. I think he should fight Yoel Alvarez next. Alvarez is a bit of like an all-rounder. He's got really good grappling, and I think he should be able to keep Oliveira at range better than Elliott. But still, he's susceptible to getting hit. But I really like that fight. Maybe don't give Oliveira a pure grappler like that soon, but either like a pure striker or a crafty all-rounder like Yoel Alvarez. He looked unstoppable, and he's huge for the division. Like, I was looking at the tail of the tape before the fight. Him and Elliott were around the same height. Okay, Oliveira had the crazy reach advantage, right? So his arms are longer. You'd think that would mean like less muscles dispersed to his arms. No, he's like, a middleweight, and Oban Elliott's like, a bantamweight. He's a pipsqueak compared to him. Anyway, I got my pick wrong. First pick wrong. That's okay though, because I got this crafty underdog pick of Tafik Masayev. I said he'd win by decision. He won by TK or whatever. He looked really sharp in this fight. The leg kicks were a big thing. Disgusting, unsportsmanlike targeting of the knee, or of the leg, where Klein was injured in his last fight. But, whatever. It is in the game. If your opponent's injured somewhere, they decided to fight you. It's not your fault for targeting a known weakness. Masayev was kind of fighting, like, he wasn't fouling. I think there might have been a glancing low blow, but it wasn't nearly as egregious as the Bahamondes fight, or the Volodin fight, by the way. He was grabbing the cage a lot. I sympathize because it's like, I don't know if you guys have trained before. I've trained a little bit. When you're against a cage and like someone's taking you down, your first instinct is to put your fingers in that bitch. So, I get why it happens. It's easy to happen. You have to make a real mental effort to not grab the cage. But Masayev didn't need to cheat in this fight. He comfortably was ahead of Klein in the first round. He did a little bit of, cage work. It was all like fine and dandy. Nothing really like too crazy happened. It was just striking at range. The second round, Klein's shot selection picks up. Beforehand, like Masayev had buckled Klein with a knee, but then like Klein lands a head kick. He's landing, good punches. But Masayev gets his lick back, knocks out Klein against the cage, finishes with ground and pound. Good win by Masayev. Crafty underdog pick by me. I think Klein might be done, honestly. After that injury, after this KO, he's lost a lot of steam. We saw, sure he couldn't beat Mateusz Gamrot. Not a lot of people can beat Mateusz Gamrot. But he had his shot at the rankings, and that's been. And now he's getting beaten by these, unranked guys. Or he didn't get beat by Betsky. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the wind is leaving the sails. So I feel for Klein. Masayev's getting up there in age, so, get him a top-ranked opponent. Not like someone just outside the rankings. There's a lot of bangers you can make, so I'm not too fussed with who Masayev goes against. Next up, we had two debutants, or like two fights. Oh, hang on. Yeah, this fight, the Noah Gugnon fight, he was against the guy debuting. I picked the other guy. I didn't know bowl. Gugnon gets he flukes a perennial, like he hits the perennial nerve. Can you call it a fluke? Yeah. But once he gets his opponent hurt, he kind of he realizes that the leg is the problem. Hammers a few more low kicks. His opponent falls down. And he doesn't. Gugnon trusts in his ground game, so he follows him to the ground, gets the sub pretty quick. Again, his opponent gave up his back pretty easily, but whatever. New French prospect. Will he turn around for the Paris card? Maybe. If they can find an opponent. And at this point, it'd be a short notice opponent. He'd probably beat them because, they'd be off the couch and he just got off a fight. But I don't know. I think Gugnon should try and get on the Paris card, honestly. But good for him. Good debut. I got the pick wrong because I didn't know bowl. I guess I didn't know bowl either. Gilbert Urbina knocks out a fellow by the name of... I've forgotten. I'm looking at my phone right now. Hang on a second. Vlasto Seppo, El Chapo. First off, Urbina's opponent, welterweight fighting at middleweight. The tattoos were hiding his physique, but I saw through it. Okay, this guy... There were a lot of debutants today. Somebody had to get, pulled off the street, Like, somebody was not UFC level. A lot of them were. This guy was not. Urbina finds an opening because his opponent is swinging like crazy. And, in the slow-mo, you can just see he's swinging, all these freaking overhands. Then his hands, by, the time he's throwing the punches, they're down by his waist. It's okay, you kind of deserve to get knocked out, if you're not being defensively responsible. And Urbina gets it done. Now he's at middleweight. Good for him. He could probably fight a Zachary Reese or something. But yeah, he gets it done. Didn't expect him to get it done. Thought he might be a bit of a can. But hey, maybe middleweight's the move. Robert Valentin won by submission versus Dusko Todorovic. This is kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because, I had the other guy. I had the other guy. Because I thought, Robert Valentin is not good. and I still don't think he's good. I think he got a layup in his last fight, and I don't think Todorovic's a very high-level opponent. We saw how fast Gauthier got Valentin out of there, and, Gauthier couldn't get Pulev out of there, But, stoppable force versus movable object. Valentin gets it done by guillotine. I went to bed after the Urbina fight, to be honest, because I was just looking at the fights ahead and I was thinking, I'm not staying up for the Valentin fight, and I think some of these fights are going to be finishes, so the replays are going to be able to pretty much say it all for me. So, Valentin wins by submission. Good for him, but I think his days are numbered in the UFC. Rakic wins a boring decision via cage control. Goodo. Put him. Who should Rakic fight next? That's the thing. I've heard some people say that he didn't really look like a true heavyweight out there, like an Alex Pereira sort of thing. Maybe he needs time to grow into the division. Maybe, something else is going on. He beat Marcin Tybura. Tybura's alright. Rakic could maybe fight Spivak next. That could be a good test. Or you could jump him in there against Volkov. But honestly, I'm not too crazy over the Rakic. He got a head kick KO in 2019, and it's been mid since. Okay, I'm not buying the hype. I do not believe the hype, but I do believe Navajo Sterling hype. I picked him by decision. I thought he was going to be a bit too young, too smart for Jan Blachowicz. Because, Sterling trains out of CKB. Those guys know what they're doing. They call him the White Adesanya for a reason. And yeah, he knocks down Jan Blachowicz early, halfway through the round. Lands some very methodical, calculated ground and pound, which is good for him. And he gets Blachowicz out of there. It's Blachowicz' first definitive loss in a very long time. I think this is it. I think he's washed. And Sterling, we got some fresh blood at light heavyweight. I wonder... Oh, mouse. Okay. There we go. I wonder how it's going to go, right, with the rankings. Because in the meta rankings, he's just broken into the top 5. Oh, sorry, hang on. In the media rankings, he's just broken into the top 5. In the meta rankings, he was already above Blachowicz. So, tricky, but definitely in need of a big name next. I'm talking Dominic Reyes. I'm talking Khalil Roundtree. I'm talking all kinds of guys. I'm talking... Who are some light heavyweights? Azamat Mirzakhanov. Okay? Not Robert Whittaker, not Carlos Olberg. There's a bit of a CKB alliance, or, New Zealand, Australia, Anzac alliance inside the rankings at light heavyweight. So we'll see how it goes with Sterling getting a title opportunity. Will he choose to sit out? I personally think when you're in that situation, you're competing for the same thing. Why put your dreams on hold so your boy can live his? But I also don't know. I'm not in that position. I'm a bit like Lucas Tracy. I haven't trained in a minute. I've trained a little bit. I haven't trained in a minute. So I couldn't kind of tell you how deep these gym brotherhoods go. But big things are in the future for Sterling. He's a legit contender, still undefeated. So yeah, good for him. Last off, Uros Medic knocks out Daniel Rodriguez. It is not the most unpredictable thing to happen. In fact, was somewhat very predictable. Medic is too fast. He's too slick. Beat D-Rod to the punch. Got him out of there. Now, now we get to jump him up the rankings. Now we get to get him that Leon Edwards fight. Now we get to get him, you know, Yaroslav Amosov. Nah, that would be bad for Medic. But put him in there with Leon Edwards. He got the dub in Serbia. Serbian crowd went crazy. They didn't go crazy for Dennis Bazooka or Michael Oliveira, and I don't know why. But they did go crazy for their own guy. I mean, what is there to say, you know? He knocked out D-Rod. Good for him. It's a good win. But, you know, it's also kind of D-Rod on like a... He was on an Unk resurgence run. But after, you know, a stint in a Tijuana prison, I'm not saying that I'm surprised. I did have Medic to win by knockout. He won by knockout. But that doesn't make me a genius. Everyone had Medic by knockout. But, you know, it's good to see. It's good to see some life at welterweight. It was a good event in Serbia. I hope they go back there. It was not good for my bedtime though. I went to bed at 4. I think it would have wrapped up around 6. So, you know, actually, fuck that. Fuck that. As Nate Diaz would say, fuck that. Other news in the UFC, before I end the video, Yair Rodriguez versus John Silver for UFC Noche. I've got John Silver in that matchup, probably by like I reckon he catches Yair in like round 3. You know, Yair, he's getting old. I think the cardio's not going to be that great. I don't love the matchup. Like, it has been one that has been talked about. But I think the fight to make would have been Lopez Yair. I thought Yair was moving up to lightweight, honestly. But that's interesting. UFC 332 is happening in Salt Lake City. We don't know who is headlining that one. So that could be interesting. You know, will it be the heavyweight title fight? Probably not. I reckon that's MSG. It's not going to be Volk Evloev. Do we think Marabian happens in Utah? That's interesting. Maybe some content coming out about that. Sorry I haven't been that active with my uploads. What I wanted to do, in case you're watching this long, by the way, you're a champion. My viewer retention is supposedly very low. But real quick, haven't been uploading that much because I've been trying to download DaVinci Resolve. But my Wi-Fi speed, my download speed is 3.5 megabits per second. It's not downloading, okay? So we've got another OBS slideshow thing. I'm trying to increase my production quality, but, you know, circumstances, I haven't been able to. So, sorry about that, but that's my UFC Belgrade, Serbia breakdown. And yeah, that's it.